3 plastic bottles of frozen water, standing behind a box fan, can pull roughly 2 million joules of heat out of a room before they give up. And the whole setup runs you about $0.10 a night. Every summer this trick goes viral. Someone parks ice in front of a fan and calls it homemade air conditioning. And every summer, thousands of people try it, feel it work for 20 minutes, and then quietly give up when the air turns lukewarm and useless. Here's the thing nobody explains in those videos. The trick isn't fake, it's just built blind. There's one number that decides whether this setup blows cold for 2 hours or dies in 20 minutes, and almost nobody puts it on screen. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what that number is, how to size it to your room, and how to squeeze real performance out of something that costs less than a fast food meal. This is Hidden Fix Lab, and today we're doing the math the viral clips skip. Start with the part that sounds almost fake. Melting ice doesn't make anything colder. Ice at freezing point turns into water at freezing point, and every bit of energy involved in that change goes into breaking the ice apart, not into dropping the temperature further. And the amount of energy that takes is enormous, about 334 joules for every single gram of ice you melt. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the same energy it would take to heat that same gram of water by 80 degrees Celsius. The melting itself is where almost all the cooling power is hiding, not the cold water sitting there afterward. Now scale it up, because this is the number the viral builds never show you. A standard 2-liter bottle holds about 2 kilograms of water. Freeze 3 of them, and you've got 6 kilograms of ice, or 6,000 grams. Multiply that by 334 joules per gram, and you land close to 2 million joules. That's your melt budget. The total amount of heat those 3 bottles can absorb before they turn into room temperature water and stop doing anything useful. Once the ice is gone, you still get a smaller bonus. That same 6 kilograms of ice-cold water keeps soaking up heat as it slowly warms toward room temperature, adding somewhere in the neighborhood of 500,000 more joules, depending on how warm your room actually is. Altogether, you're carrying something like 2.5 million joules of cooling capacity in 3 bottles you probably already have space for in your freezer door. To make that number feel real, it's roughly enough energy to cool down 15 to 20 large mugs of hot coffee down to room temperature. That's a serious amount of stored cold sitting in a freezer door. Here's why almost nobody talks about this number. Heat doesn't politely wait for you to notice it. It's constantly leaking into your room through the walls, through sunlit windows, off your own body, off your phone charger, off a running television. Think of the melt budget like money in a bank account, and all that incoming heat like a constant withdrawal. In a small, sealed bedroom, that leak might only be 2 to 300 watts, meaning 2 to 300 joules landing in the room every second. Divide 2 million joules by 250 joules a second, and you get over 2 hours of real usable cooling. That's a genuine cold start to a night's sleep. But open the door to a bigger, sunnier living room with a couple of warm bodies and a running TV, and that leak can jump to 6 to 800 watts, 3 times heavier. The exact same 6 kilograms of ice that lasted over 2 hours in the bedroom can be gone in under an hour in that room. Nothing about the ice changed. The room just got greedier. That's the entire reason people call this trick weak. It was never bad physics. It was ice-sized for the wrong space. The rule is simple. Size the ice to the room, not to the fan. A small sealed room, 3 bottles is plenty. A big open living room needs several times that. Or you're just melting ice for no reason. Where you put the bottles matters almost as much as how much ice you use. Most people just set them in front of the fan and call it done. That's actually one of the weakest spots you could choose, because air blasting straight off the fan blades barely brushes past the cold plastic before it's already moving on. Put the bottles behind the fan instead, on the side, pulling air in, so every bit of air the fan grabs has to travel across the cold surface before it ever reaches you. More contact time means more heat pulled out of every pass of air, using the exact same bottles and the exact same fan. Raise them up so they sit level with the blades instead of low on the floor, and spread them apart instead of clumping them into one block. More exposed surface means more contact, the same reason crushed ice chills a drink faster than one big cube. There's a bonus most people never notice. Those bottles are running well below the room's dew point, so warm, humid air condenses on contact and drips down as water. That means your setup is quietly dehumidifying the room the whole time it runs, and drier air lets sweat evaporate off your skin faster, which is what actually cools your body down. That can make a room feel noticeably cooler than the thermometer reading, purely from the drop in humidity. Yes, that condensation dumps a small amount of heat back into the ice and nibbles slightly at your melt budget, but the comfort you get from drier air is worth far more than what it costs you. You'll see people pour table salt over the ice, and they're not wrong that it works. Salt lowers the melting point, so the surface can sit several degrees below freezing, giving you a sharper, colder blast right when you switch it on. What they don't mention is that your total melt budget doesn't grow at all. Salt just spends the same budget faster and colder, trading duration for intensity. and it leaves you with a salty brine that takes longer to refreeze into a clean block afterward. Use it if you want one intense burst of cold, skip it if you want the ice to carry you through a full night. The obvious pushback: your freezer used real electricity to make that ice in the first place, so is this actually free? Fair question. Freezing 6 kilograms of water means removing that same roughly 2 million joules of heat. And once you factor in how a home freezer's compressor actually works, that typically costs somewhere from a few cents up to maybe 15 or 20 cents worth of electricity for a full batch, and often less. Here's why that still wins. Your freezer runs all night regardless of whether those bottles are in it. Adding them barely changes its workload. You're not creating or destroying heat. You're just moving it from your bedroom into your freezer, which dumps it out its coils into the kitchen instead. Compare that to a portable air conditioning unit, which typically runs 800 to 1,000 watts nonstop and costs several $100s up front. A single night of that unit can burn through more electricity than a box fan uses in an entire week, since a fan usually only draws 50 to 80 watts. The bottle setup costs a few dollars. In bottles you might already have lying around, plus a fan, plus pocket change and freezer time. And when the power goes out in a storm, that expensive unit is a dead brick needing electricity it doesn't have, while your fan sips so little that a small battery pack can run it for hours. Pull already frozen bottles from a dark freezer and you've still got real cooling. To be fair, a real air conditioning unit will still win outright in a big, hot, sunlit living room because it can keep pulling heat indefinitely and never runs out of budget. But for one person, in one closed room, overnight, which is exactly when and where most people actually need this, 3 frozen bottles and an honest melt budget will quietly outperform it on cost, on noise, and on not adding another few $100s to your summer. You're never actually making cold. You're only ever renting it, borrowing it from your freezer for a few hours at a time. And the smart move is knowing exactly how big that loan is before you build anything. Size the ice to the room, seal the door, put the bottles where the air has to work for its coolness, and let the numbers do the rest while you sleep.